right. Well, hello everyone. Um, Thank you all for joining me. My name is Lori Fair with Totally Bound, and I'm really excited because this is my first Q&A. So I'm glad everyone could join me. I'm a little nervous because it is my first time. So just give me a second. Sorry about that. If y'all just bear with me, I'm sure we can all get through this together. So I'm just going to start with what I know. So I'm Laura Fair, and I am publishing my first novel through traditional publishing. It's called The Devil's Maverick. Comes out in January of 2020, and I'm very excited about it. It's a short novel, and the categories are action adventure, historical romance, and erotic romance. It's a pirate love story set in the 1970s, and it's been a passion project for a while, so I'm really excited to share it with everyone. Some things about me. I write romance, of course. No particular genre, but I do tend to like historical. During the days, I work at my local library. So yeah. Sorry guys, I'm very nervous. I don't do well in front of a camera. I would like to go ahead and say that I'm not claiming to be an expert on anything said here. I'm just giving my opinions based on the questions I've been asked. I have background in indie publishing, some, and this is my first time going through the traditional publishing route, but I have learned a lot during my time here. So we're just going to get right into the questions, but before we do, I am going to introduce a very special surprise guest. She's my good friend. She was the first person to ever read The Devil's Maverick in its current form. She was there through all the terrible drafts. She helped edit. Just a really wonderful fellow writer. Please welcome Miss Lena Page.
Hi, everybody.
And she brought tea.
I did bring tea. That's the most important part. So thank you for having me on here, Lori.
Oh, yes.
I'm very excited to be part of this book with you. So thank you for inviting me for your Q&A session.
I'm really excited. Anytime. I need help.
No, you're fine. Well, why don't we just dive right in?
Okay, so all these questions were sent anonymously, so we're just gonna jump right in.
I guess we're adding mystery to your romance.
Why not? All right, so the first question was, what inspired you to write this book? And I guess all I have to say is I love historical romance. I am obsessed with all things pirates, anything pirates, anything to do with the ocean, ships. I'm pretty much an expert on that. And so it just made sense that should be my first debut novel.
I like it. And there's that book. Where's that book that you had?
Yes, this book. Is this the book you mean?
That's the book I mean.
We got this at a thrift store when I was 16. It's just one of those children's books that's got the little books you can open on the inside, the inserts you can take out. It's just about pirates and their ships.
And then that inspired you quite a bit.
It did. I kept it with me the whole time I was writing.
Yeah. I had to hear about that a lot.
You've seen this a lot.
I have. That book was referenced in many a conversation.
Like, oh, you don't know what the ship looks like? Here you go.
Here's the ship. So I guess I had to ship it. All right, well, let's go to the next one.
All right, next question. Do you base characters on people you know?
Answer wisely.
Yeah, that's a tricky question. I have done in the past. I know in the first draft I had one of the characters based on someone I knew, but for the most part I use celebrities, such as Tom Ellis and Lee Pace and Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, Tom's.
A lot of Toms, I've noticed. But I think that's what every woman does.
Yeah.
Like when you think of your wildest fantasies, you definitely, I mean, who's the first person who comes to mind?
My husband.
You have to say that. Yes, that's right. I definitely think of my husband too. Wink.
Sorry, if you hear the buzzing, I think is that more questions coming in or something?
Yes, we'll get to those at the end.
All right.
We're gonna do the ones I've already had, and then we're gonna use
I like this.
gonna get time in, and feel free to ask questions in the chat, people who are watching. Very severe.
Okay.
Next question. Do you base any events on your own experiences?
That's a good question.
I sadly have to say not really.
Really? I mean, I can't imagine that you would,
I mean, I've never battled the Royal Navy
Have you
on the
not?
coast of Africa.
I feel like you have.
I mean, I'm a jet setter, but let's not get crazy here.
Have you ever been on a pirate ship at all? Been able to get one?
I've not. There was a time when we went to Ren fairs, and I remember at one particular one, they had actual pirate artifacts, like from the 1600s, on display, and we got to see how they worked, and that was very educational.
Okay, then quick interjecting question here. Sorry, everybody, and for adoring fans. I'm curious. What was the favorite artifact that you saw there that was pirated, and did that inspire anything in your book?
It was the flintlock pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had one that still worked. They couldn't fire it, but you got to see how it was loaded. You know, you could hear it whenever they pulled the hammer back. You could hear the clicking of the gears. And I definitely added more pistols after seeing that into my story.
I can see why. That's really cool. All right, sorry for interrupting.
I'm fine. Don't worry. So this one is a common one that I've heard outside of this. Any advice for aspiring writers? There's a lot of advice for aspiring writers that you can just find anywhere.
Where do you begin with that one?
I know.
Okay, let's think. Benefits of traditional publishing versus indie. How about that? Maybe that's a good one.
That is a question I have. Here.
Well, then not that piece of advice.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Lena.
Oh, sorry. All right, well, one thing I wanted to know as an aspiring author that I remember wondering about is how do you get through writer's block? Maybe that's something that can help a lot.
That is another question that I will answer right now. I don't believe in writer's block.
Really?
Yes.
So why not?
So, in my opinion, I actually heard a fellow author tuber talk about this. Her name is Kate Kavanaugh, and I watched a lot of her videos. And she actually made a lot of sense with her argument that if you know what your story, if you know where you want to go, there's no way you can be blocked from writing. You can be story blocked. You cannot know what happens in the next scene. But with me, I'm a planner, so I always know what's going to happen next. So it's not a question of if, it's a question of when for me. So I can sit there and I can stare at a blank page and be like, man, I really don't know what to write. But I have my whole outline in front of me. So how could I not know what to write?
Interesting. Okay.
And that's just my point of view.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
For myself, I don't believe in writer's block, but I know that there are ways to, if you're stuck,
Yeah,
to get
past
past
it. There's that cool font trick that you taught me one time.
Oh, I learned that from Alexa Dawn.
Oh yeah, that threw me through a loop.
And
It worked.
It was very strange, but she has a whole video of it on her channel, and it's when you're doing your first draft, to type it in Comic Sans.
Yeah, it threw me.
And which is probably the silliest font to exist, other than the Wingding font.
Emojis.
But the emojis are hieroglyphics. The whole trick to it is, though, it allows you not to take yourself seriously. You know, you're not looking at it in this Calibri straight font. You're looking at this goofy handwritten font, so you can just kind of let the words flow, I guess.
When I did that, it was almost like it like triggered some long lost creative spark from when I was a child. And so it made the words flow easier. It was weird. It's like it unlocked it.
It does different things for different people, but it always works.
Weirdest thing.
So yeah, my advice would be write in Comic Sans and don't take yourself too seriously.
I love that. Okay, let's do it.
It's what editing's for. Oh, the next question was, do you believe in writer's block? I think we've covered that.
Maybe we should go. I'm just kidding. Let's not go after that.
Just run it back.
Just if you would like to hear that question again,
just rewind it. Yeah, that works. All right. Do I have a quote or line I can share from my book without spoilers? Oh, here's the thing about that, and another reason I'm glad you're here. I don't have a favorite line or quote. I have favorite scenes. Like when I think what's my favorite scene, immediately I know what pops into mind.
We can't say it.
We can't say. You'll have to read it.
I'll just say, is character on here?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get to that. We've got some good questions.
Then I don't even know how to answer that without spoiling. And I'll say this not as her friend, but as somebody who read this book. There is not one quote in there that would not give away something in this book. She has utilized her wordage so well. I can't even think of one that wouldn't say exactly what you would not want to know without reading the book.
I will say, I think the scenes I'm proudest of are the action scenes, because I did not have a lot of experience writing those, but I think I pulled them off pretty well.
I love the final scene. And heads up, be careful when you love characters.
Well, it's romance. You always get the happily ever after.
You do.
But it's a journey. It's a journey to get there.
It's a journey.
Do you happen to have anything you want to add to that, or shall we move on?
Shall we?
Yes. So my next question is, do you have a favorite author or book? I can say that we both hoard books, so I don't think we can properly pick one. I know I can't.
I know again. It's not that way.
Everyone knows what your favorite book is. You don't make it a secret. But I do have a favorite author, and it's very strange. My favorite author is Dan Brown.
Why?
Page turners. I mean, when I pick up one of his books, I'd have to keep going. He's so good at hiding his true intentions. You really don't know what's going on to the last page. And I really admire that.
It's a good one. Do you have a favorite book by him at all? Is he the Da Vinci Code?
Yes.
The Da Vinci Code?
Yes. My favorite book by him would probably be The Lost Symbol. Which is strange because it's the least liked among his fan base.
Really?
It was the first book that made me sob. I was in school when I read it, and I just remember sitting in Spanish class, and I finished the book, and I just put my head down on the desk and just let it out.
Oh, no.
I do cry in his books.
That's amazing.
He's a great author. And I like him, yeah. Next question is, what drew me to this genre? And I actually have the very item with me today. And it is this book, which is very hard to see, but it's called A Kiss to Remember by Teresa Medeiros. It is historical romance, and it is a spin on Sleeping Beauty.
I've never heard that one.
It's very good. It was the first historical romance I ever read. And I was in middle school, so it's probably a little old for me. But I do remember reading, there's 2 pages that describe a single kiss. And to my young mind, that was the most romantic you ever gonna get.
It's still romantic. I mean, 2 pages to describe one kiss,
I know, and it was
that's
just
talent.
it was beautiful. And I remember after that, that's when I really got into romance, and mostly historical.
Did you ever try to like recreate that scene for yourself? Type deal?
Like in the stories,
Well, I mean, even in just like a short story, I'm curious. Like when you would practice writing.
I did in my fan fiction,
There you go.
and I think I can never attain that level, at least not at present.
Mhm.
But that was definitely
Fun challenge.
it's a challenge. A little too challenging to be fun just now.
Alright, let's move on before we start just listing kisses.
Yes. Okay. How much rejection did you receive?
It's a good time to sip some tea.
Let me give you the tea on that. That is a very taboo question to ask an author.
It really
I
is.
thought I would include, because I don't mind. And I know that some people do wonder about, especially if they're trying to get published, they want to know, how much rejection do I really have to go through?
Yeah, and that it varies from author to author, really.
It does, and it depends on who you're submitting to.
That's the biggest one, who you're submitting to and what genre a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, I don't write sci-fi, but I imagine sci-fi is probably harder to get published than, like, say, romance.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I don't write sci-fi either, but I wrote fantasy, and that was hard to get published, so I had to end up indie publishing that one.
Yeah, imagine.
But it's a waiting game if you're trying to publish traditionally. It's a lot of, you'll hear from us in 8 weeks, you'll hear from us in 6 weeks. If you don't hear from us in 12 weeks, send us an email.
And then wait another 4 weeks.
Yes, it is. You have to learn patience to do this.
Or just fake it till you make it with
Yeah.
patience, because you don't have to be patient, but it's not going to make it go any quicker.
Lots of sleepless nights, refreshing the emails.
Phone calls, so many phone calls to
Okay.
her, to me,
Hey, have you heard back yet?
or the it's been 6 weeks. It was like 6. It became 6 weeks an hour ago.
Officially down to the minute. So now we get to the question you asked earlier, and what are some good arguments in indie versus traditional publishing?
And that was almost talked about there for a minute. So good
It
segue.
was, yes. Let's run right into it. And I have to say, I have experience in both, and my indie publishing did not go well for me because it is a lot of marketing. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell your story to people who might not be interested. Whereas with traditional publishing, you have a team to do that for you. You have people to help you out.
Yeah. Like I hear a lot of the things, and a lot of people are saying like that with indie publishing, of course you get a higher payout, but you have to put in the work for that. Like that is a lot of work. There's a reason publishing companies make what they do. And
there's
are
a reason
so
you
sought
only
after.
get
Yeah.
so much in royalties.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they work their butts off. And if they don't, then you have to. So it's, I guess, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, I would say if you're good at marketing, I know you're really, really good at marketing. So indie publishing, might work better for you. It did not work for me. So I'm not going to really give a whole lot of advice on that. I'm not the best person.
It's fine. I think it's good to have tried to. Like, I've never tried indie publishing. I love the publisher I'm with. And I think that's the other part is, even if you can do indie publishing, it may not be the fit for you.
It may not. I feel like it's something you have to experiment with. Like,
yeah.
I tried it, didn't work for me, so now I know.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now you're with like a good family.
I'm with a wonderful family now. I love them.
Just do the smile at the camera and let them gleam. And you're just sweet.
All right. Can you share some of your writing process? Oh, that's complicated, as you know. I'm very much a planner. I plan down to the last minute detail before I even begin the first draft. I know exactly what's going to happen. And if it changes, I can adjust accordingly. There's editing rounds. but everything is written down on paper. I have a whole chart showing where I'm at in each stage because I work on multiple projects at a time. So I can be writing the first draft of one book and already be doing the second round of edits on another book, or having another book beta read, which is kind of where I'm at right now. So I will not get really into that. I might do a whole video. That might be a video idea.
Yeah,
on my
you
YouTube
should
channel.
see her binder notebook.
I have OCD, so it is
Immaculate.
it's a journey.
It's immaculate. It's not even a journey. Immaculate.
You're going through a guided tour.
You are. Guided tour for a book already. It's amazing, really.
And another question that went with that was, do you write start to finish or in pieces?
Ooh,
And
good question.
it's a weird thing. Sometimes scenes will come to me and I'll write them down, but I won't work on them. I'll just put it to the side and be like, okay, when I get to the chapter it's supposed to go in, then I'll put it in and then I'll work on it. But I like to do from start to finish. So that is my opinion on that. Next question is, what inspires you?
Just in general?
Just in general, what inspires me to write? And that's really, there's a lot. Of course, music. I think every writer has music that they have to listen to. No?
Yeah, I can't listen to music. It'll distract me.
See, when I write a book, I make a playlist of songs that for each
A
scene.
lot of people do that.
Yeah, I thought everyone did. Ooh.
Stop assuming. No, I think everybody has their own process. That definitely thing that they have to have. I have to drink tea if I'm gonna write. Otherwise, yeah.
I have to have earbuds in or I can't focus.
So I think that's probably based on. But what inspires you, truly?
I would say, books sometimes, but for the most part, movies and TV.
Oh.
I was very much story blocked on my newest work in progress, and I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go in because what I was writing wasn't working. And so I'm like, okay, so I need to find something that relates. So I started watching Versailles on Netflix. And all of a sudden, I'm just overwhelmed with ideas. I now know
Just
what my
spark
character
that.
motivations are. I know exactly what time period I want to set in. And I just pull a lot from visual.
Well, yeah, I know that a lot of times, one thing starts this domino effect, just whole thing. I think.
The thing that actually sparked the Devil's Maverick was a movie called Cutthroat Island. We got it at a thrift store, I believe. We get everything from thrift stores.
It's amazing.
And it was a stolen copy from a rental store. So every 10 minutes.
Super cutthroat.
Every 10 minutes, the thing would scroll across the bottom, not for individual sale, for promotional purposes only. But it was fine. It didn't bother me. It was a good movie. I now own it legally.
So you would say it was pirated?
Clayton made the same joke.
Oh gosh.
When I made him watch it. But no, I remember it was that movie we were sitting there watching. I'm like, you know what? I want to write a pirate story. And that started this whole thing 6 years ago.
Which is interesting because I know that a while back, a lot of people were really into the pirate novels and novellas. And then it kind of went down for a while. And so for you to do that, I think it's really, really cool, really great to try to bring this back.
Yeah, the market was a little odd.
Yeah.
Because I was looking into it when I started, going for serious publication. That was a weird time.
But that's what I love about this book is that it's not the one that you see every single day. It's not going to be that exact same romance that you're accustomed to. It's not going to be that you know exactly what's going to happen. That's a really big deal. You're bringing something back that for a long time was a very popular, genre or subgenre.
That's true.
And you're bringing it back. Oh no, that's not what we're doing.
Also, another thing that inspires me is, strangely enough, Dungeons and Dragons. When we play games, I get ideas
Mm-hmm.
because you never know what's going to happen.
I'll say a lot of people, D&D gets a really bad rep, but if you're an author, if you're a writer,
There's
especially,
nothing better.
yeah, because it's purely imagination. You have no idea where the story's going. You're having to improv.
You have to
constantly.
get into your character's head.
Very much so.
I've actually gotten my husband to make sheets for my characters.
That's what I did too. I did.
Yeah.
Apparently, D&D people, we make character sheets for our characters in our
character's
novels.
head. We play them.
Mm-hmm.
See what they would do in these
Important.
situations.
It's very important to figure out what exactly your character would want, even in situations maybe that aren't in the novel, so that you know how they react.
Aspiring writers, play D&D.
That's the advice. Back to the second question. One of these. Back to that question. Aspiring writers' advice. Play Dungeons and Dragons. Don't be afraid. It's just go for it.
It's a ton of fun.
It really is. Costumes not required.
Suggested.
I wear a sweatshirt.
I mean, to each their own. Next question. What is next for you? Oh, that's an end question.
Oh, is that an end question? Because I am.
It is not an end question. We have several questions here.
Apparently we're waiting for that one. I was getting ready.
I feel like that's an end question.
Okay.
I also feel like that's similar to another question I just got today.
Okay. Do we have any questions? I think is there any questions in there?
There are none. No one has commented yet, which is fine.
Which is fine.
It's one less thing to worry about. I can kind of focus on what I have.
That's good. Okay.
So yeah, I feel like we're going to come back to that one. How long did it take to write The Devil's Maverick? Devil's Maverick is 6 years in the making. It came from humble beginnings, which I'm actually going to tie this into another question. Apparently I don't have that other question. So, The Devil's Maverick started out as fan fiction, as I'm sure most books do, maybe. I feel like all books have a little bit. I mean, if you're basing your character off of a celebrity, that's a real person fan fiction. But yeah, and it just kind of sat on my computer for a very, very long time, and I kept thinking about it. I kept wanting to go back, especially after Every Eternal. I kept wanting to go back and work on it and see what I could do with it. But I didn't really get serious about it until the end of last year, whenever Lena was starting to write again. And I was like, oh, well, I have a book. I can do this too. And so it took, after that point, everything was written. It was just reworking the plot, rewriting a lot of cringy things. And after that, it was a few months to fix. But all in all, about 6 years. If we're going to condense that
To this last time.
yeah, I would say a few months, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, those few months it was not just casually while sitting on the couch. Like it was writing sprints and research and
So much research.
continual work.
Because at the time I wasn't working, so all day that was what I was doing.
Because you were traveling at that point, pretty much, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We were both on the road,
Mm-hmm.
and from the minute I woke up, my computer was out, my notes were spread out, and they were there until I went to bed that night.
It was a lot of idea bouncing and work.
A lot of work. Trying to up that word count because I always underwrite.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people, they hear like a few months, it doesn't sound like that long, but it is long hours. It is.
It's a few months working all day. So that's the only reason it got done as quick as it was. Honestly, if I'd been working, it would not be done. I'd still be writing. Somebody asked, do you adopt any characteristics from your characters into your own personality? Yes, I do. I think, I keep saying this, but in my head, everyone does. I know when I was working on The Devil's Maverick, I noticed extra snark coming out, a little bit of the sass, which is not my normal personality.
Yeah, I think a lot of the characters just were like who you like being and who you like
So you kind of get into
strive
their
to be,
head.
yeah.
I noticed with the new work in progress I have going, I speak much more eloquently. I'll use proper grammar a lot more, instead of my y'all or ain't. I don't use those.
You've never said y'all to me.
I've said y'all a lot. I said y'all at the beginning of this.
Oh, that's true. Maybe I just don't hear it
You just
anymore.
don't hear it because we're so used to it.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But I've noticed that I do, especially at work, when someone comes in, yes, may I help you? Or, pardon me, I need to get by.
Excuse me, my darling, could you please spot me a glass of tea?
What British nobleman says, can you spot me a glass of tea?
Obviously, I'm not writing the same book as you.
Not even a little. But yeah, I do. I think it's just because you're having to write these characters, you're having to get into their heads, so it stands to reason that you'll kind of turn into them at least a little.
bit. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, people do that when they're reading too. Think about it.
I know you did it when you were writing your first book. You were very sassy.
I was very sassy.
Because yours was more of a comedy. You had a lot more of the banter between characters going.
Just sarcasm.
So much
I feel like
sarcasm.
that's me anyway.
Oh, it is, but it was like up to 11 while you were working on that book.
Then I wanted those catering coming through.
Both. If you wrote a book in another genre, what would it be? That was the tie-in to the earlier question. I'm going to save that for last. This will be my last question.
Killing me.
Calm down. You need to calm down. So.
Uh-oh.
Does this book have any special meaning to you? Is the next question. And yes, it has a lot of special meaning to me. It started out as a gift to the person I was dating at the time I wrote it. We would trade stories, and that was a way of showing affection between us. We'd write stories for each other. And now it's special to me because it's been my dream to be published. This is my first book, and I've had so much support during it. I've had people sacrifice things just so I could do this. My husband, he worked the whole time we were traveling. He was working, and I was working on the book. And if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So he did. He really pulled through on that. And that's why it's dedicated to him.
Oh.
Yeah, it has special meaning to me because it was the first time I had full support from everyone around me telling me I could do this, and I did do it.
Oh yeah, and you just
it's happening. So yeah, it's special, and I think everyone who writes their debut novel is gonna hold a special place in their heart no matter what.
Yeah. But we are all really proud of you. It's a really great book, and I'm excited that it's your first. Like, this is your first entrance into the truly published world, and that's like really cool.
I feel like it encompasses everything I love.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just the perfect
I love it.
debut. It is. And now here's the question you asked, which you can answer after I answer, of course.
All right.
Who is your favorite character from the book and why? Of course, Alva and Elijah, main characters. Love them both to death. Elijah a little more, but he's the hero, so of course, he's the big hunky devilish pirate. Who wouldn't? But I have to say my favorite character is a man named James. He is the first mate.
That reaction.
I'm sure you will agree. And he's just, I like his character because he's the brotherly type. He's always there for his friends. He cares deeply. He loves deeply. And, he's never a threat for, as you see in most books, he's never really a threat for Alva's affections. He's just there for her. He's a good friend. And a little sneak peek here, I might be planning a spinoff with James.
Oh, so excited about that one.
Give him his own little adventure. What do you think? Who was your favorite character?
It was James. She knows it. James is my favorite. He was Again, that he was the best friend. He's the best friend like every person deserves.
Everyone needs a friend like
Yeah,
James.
everybody needs a James. Very supportive, protective, but not in a get in your way kind of protective. He's very much like, you know what?
You make your own
Make your own
decisions.
decisions, take chances, but I'm going to be here to back you up.
And I'll also be here to tell you you're stupid.
You're stupid. That's the best friend. You need a friend to tell you that you're being stupid. If you don't have a friend that tells you that you're being stupid, go get one.
That's why I keep her around.
I mean, she's not one. But get you a friend, go to Walmart. There's people all over.
Whoa, you're very telling of where we're from when you say go to Walmart.
It doesn't matter. Any Walmart. Any Walmart, you're going to find somebody who will gladly tell you you're stupid. Make them your friend.
Moving on. What is your snack of choice while writing?
That's a good one.
It is. Of course, I drink tea.
Mhm.
Sweet tea. Not always hot tea. It depends. Hot tea is for my mornings and nights. In between, it's sweet tea.
I think that tells more about where we're from
Oh,
than
goodness.
Walmart.
Yes. Actually, Walmart and sweet tea? My tea is suspect.
And the y'all.
Everyone's going to know we're Southern. It's fine. I know J.K. Rowling eats popcorn while she writes. Yeah, I learned that. That's her snack of choice. Mine is potato chips.
What flavor?
Sour cream and onion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my snack of choice at any time of day. So, of course, when I'm writing, I usually have a bag of chips next to me and a glass of sweet tea. Out of curiosity, what's yours? I know you drink hot tea like crazy when you write.
Yeah. My main thing is that I drink. I don't really eat while I'm writing. Not much. If I have to snack on something, it's either like pretzels or carrot sticks. It's like something light that doesn't leave any residue.
Something healthy.
Well, that doesn't leave any residue on my finger because that makes me mad more than anything else.
Yeah, my laptop's
Stuff on my
white.
Ah,
So, like, if I have chips next to me, it'd be like, I don't eat while I'm writing. I'll be taking breaks being like, I need to think about the next sentence. Grab a chip, eat it, and then just pajama pants. Just wipe it
all the
off.
way down.
It's fine. I'm very grungy when I write. I'm always in pajamas.
I think it's also I don't
Crumbs.
snack while I write because as soon as I open a bag, my 2-year-old will just have a sixth sense that there's food
Crawling into the room.
just hauling butt into the room. Mommy, can I have some? And then you're not writing anymore when the 2-year-old is trying to get your food. It's not happening. It's not.
I can imagine. I don't know from experience, but I can imagine. I've been around her enough. I know.
Gotta love it. Are we to my favorite question yet, or do we have a few more?
We have two more. Well, we have one more question.
Okay.
This is actually a really good one. What is the biggest lesson you learned while writing this book?
Oh.
Patience. You're going to want to write everything down, and then you're going to get it burnt out, and then you're going to want to hear back immediately. You're going to want to query immediately, which is a very bad idea. I've had friends who query without editing. And you have to be patient. You can't force it, but you also can't wait for a muse, or you're never going to write. So you just have to, it's a lot of patience and balance, I think.
And confidence, honestly.
Yeah.
It's real tough. Real tough
I had to adapt very much. I cried when I submitted to my first publisher, like first person I sent it out to, I was in tears.
Mm-hmm. I do have a quick question before we get to that one.
Yes.
And this is one of my favorite things to ask because I know that I go through it a lot. I wonder, I guess I'm assuming a lot of authors do. When you're writing this book, what was your favorite thing that you researched? What did you learn that was new?
I learned a lot about ships from that era, but I think the thing that I like to research in all of my books is the fashion of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite part of this one was looking up, they have these videos on YouTube that show, a noblewoman getting dressed in the 1800s. And it goes through each layer of clothing and how it was adjusted, how it was worn, what was stylish in that point. And that's always been my go-to.
Yeah, and you actually learn a bit about that in the book, which was really cool that was put in, because I didn't realize just how.
And a lot of improvising clothes. As a woman on a pirate ship, she does have to improvise.
I was there's a few things that you'll learn from the book that's really cool.
If it's about clothing, it's deliberate because I love fashion.
Well, if it's not overly done, like it's not too boringly descriptive, it's like really
what's in there is meant to be there.
Exactly. There's a reason that you're going through that stuff.
Yes.
So I was curious because there were a lot of learning points in the book. I didn't know which one particularly was your favorite that you researched.
Yeah, fashion. All right, now we're on to the question you were so excited about.
Thank God. I have been also wanting to know the answer to this one. I've not been completely kept in the loop. So
the question is, what is next? And if you wrote a book in another genre, what would it be? You're way too close right now. So I'm currently working on several projects. One is a fantasy. One is another historical. But the one I'm going to be querying next is contemporary.
Is that the one I think it is?
It is. Right now it is being called Project Manhattan. It is one of those billionaire romances with a twist of an arranged marriage. And another twist of second chances.
Mm-hmm. Thought you were going to put the other twist in, the twist.
No. I know. I'm just telling tropes for now.
Yeah.
And that will be queried. I think I'm going to be able to send that in November.
I like that one. That one so far. I have a few favorites from that one.
That's very exciting. So another genre, I do like fantasy. I'm doing fantasy, and I'm not a big fan of contemporaries. This was my first time doing that, but I'm very excited. I'm hopeful. Very against my brand, but
so going back to that one question, obviously you're expanding and looking to other genres. What would be your dream genre to write and get published?
The one I have now.
The
historical
romance. But any other genre?
Probably fantasy.
Fantasy?
I'm a big fantasy fan. Was raised on Tolkien and Neil Gaiman. Terry Pratchett.
Awesome.
All the good things. So yes, that concludes our question. It looks like we have our first comment.
Oh, okay.
But the computer is way too far away to read. So let's just awkwardly lean in. Megan says, can we expect any more phenomenal pirate books from you? Good question. Like I said, I am planning some spin-offs from The Devil's Maverick. I might turn it into a series. I'm not sure. I think I might just do the duology and be done with it. But I can say that even after I'm done with The Devil's Maverick and whatever else may come from it, I'm pretty sure pirates are going to come back in at some point. They can't not.
Yeah. And then you had a question on here earlier from an Andrew. That's a good one. Okay, so when is it available for pre-release and when does it launch?
Yes, I meant to cover that earlier. So pre-order is going to be on December 17th, 2019. It's going to be exclusively on the Totally Bound website. You'll be able to find links for that on my Twitter and my Facebook. And general release, you can officially buy it on January 28th, 2019.
That's exciting. And you're doing you're doing a physical launch, right?
I am.
Have you decided the location for that yet?
Yes. The local library is going to be throwing a sort of book launch / book signing event. We're thinking January 31st.
And which local? Because we travel all the time. Which local are you thinking? What town?
Fitzgerald.
Oh, Fitzgerald, Georgia. Okay.
Yes. But it will be streamed live on Facebook.
Okay.
So anyone can join. You just won't be able to partake in, any of the food or anything that's going to be available.
I mean, order a pizza.
Yeah, just order a pizza.
It'll be worth it.
Prop up with your computer and just join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some readings from the book.
I'm excited. Maybe
some special guest speakers. And I think it's going to be a good time.
And food.
And food. Which
Unless
is
you have to
important,
order pizza.
which you're still getting food. True. All right. And you had some questions?
My biggest questions were, again, about the research and everything, but I'm also curious to know if you were thrown back in time. This is not what happens, but this book was based back in a historical period. If you were thrown back in time to the time period that this was set, what do you think you would be? Like, who do you think you would be?
A maid. I'm not an adventurer. I'm far too docile to go on a pirate ship. I would just be somebody keeping my head down and working and just trying to survive.
What would you want to be?
No. I would like to think I would be something close to Alva.
Yeah. And Alva's the main character.
Alva is the main character. She's the
Heroine.
yes. And I like to imagine I could be like that. But I know me.
Yeah, I think you could. So, do we know? Are we releasing, some quotes or anything? Do we know anything about that? Where's marketing starting?
Okay, so the book cover, the art should be coming in this month, hopefully. They said it would take a few weeks. And then after that, it'll come with all the promotional materials, and I can start getting that out to people. We're going to do a big cover reveal on the channel.
Something to look out for. I like it.
Yes.
Oh, and there's another question too, so you're ready.
I'll get to that. And after that, I'm having a friend of mine who's a wonderful artist make character cards.
What are those?
Character cards are just pictures of the characters. It's not the cover art. It's just like a shot of what I imagine the characters to look like.
Okay.
And that's going to be pretty exciting. And those cards will come with quotes from the characters themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cute.
This will be available as bookmarks, and you can just buy prints. Very excited.
Did you get a set with all the characters? Is that everything?
You can get them individual, or you can get a bundle with them.
That's cute.
Very exciting. And so yeah, that's something else to look out for.
That's exciting. I'm anxious for that one. I get the first set.
We have to. You were my rock through this whole thing.
What's the question?
Yes, let's see this other question. It says, can we be expecting any more Q&As anytime soon?
That's a good cue.
Let me give you the A. I think so. This was kind of I knew I wanted to do one, but I was very nervous about it. I don't like being in front of a camera. As you well know, I probably haven't looked at the camera that much this whole time. It makes me anxious, but I do like this. So I think another Q&A might be in order soon.
Yeah, could do one maybe even a pre-launch, the day before you do the official launch. It'd be fun.
That would be nice. And then I could probably share a little bit more about the book. Right now,
and holding the book.
Oh yes, I could hold a copy of it, and you could see it
from the side.
You can see how bad my hand shook as I hold it. So yeah.
Is there anything that you would want to tell us that maybe we haven't touched on in the Q&A?
There's not really much more to tell.
Without giving things away.
Yeah.
That's the tough part.
If you go on my Facebook, you can find all the description of the book. The tagline, which I have here, I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead and hear the tag. I want to hear the tagline. So I've not heard this one.
The tagline, which is what's going to be on the cover, giving you that little taste. And when Alva Eastman is taken captive by the devilishly handsome pirate Elijah Maverick, she finds that it may be exactly where she wants to be.
Oh. And what I love about this is it's when you hear that, when you hear taken captive, it is not your normal taken captive type story. It's
There are extenuating
A
circumstances.
lot of things that are just lots of twists. Threw in a lot of cannonballs there. Just into my ship. Just all the cannonballs.
Grape shot shattered the sails.
So that's cool. What's the website that we can go on to find more information about this?
My author page should be up soon, and that will be where you can find most of it. But right now, I'm mostly on Twitter. And you can find me at Lori Fair, very simple.
And Fair is spelled
Fayre. And there's also a blog where you can also get updates. On the side, I keep a little tracker where you can track all of my current work in progress.
That's really cool. That's really neat. I like that. So what's new for you? Like, I know we talked about what's next with your books. Like, I mean, you're getting the website and stuff. Like, are you going to start actively blogging? Or are you going to start doing maybe a book tour? Like, what are we thinking?
Ooh, I don't know about a book tour. The book tour thing is really up to the publisher, and I don't know if they do that. But the blogging, right now I'm at 1 post per week. I want to up that to 2 or 3. The blog's definitely my newest project, and I'm really hoping I can do more with it.
And what would you like to do with your blog? Like, what would you want your readers to expect from the blog?
Mostly it's just me dumping my opinions.
Oh, I like that.
I do want to do more posts about the book.
Okay.
But I'm kind of holding off until I get more.
Well,
I
really,
want to compile some things before I start posting too much about it.
can we possibly, and I would love people to help here, maybe press you for having a deleted scene written on your blog post, or like an extra scene?
Ooh.
Like a side peek, maybe?
I do have a deleted scene that I really wanted to keep, but it just wasn't working. And I think that might be a good idea. Put that on my blog.
So you get a little bit more there. Exactly.
Yeah. Something you wouldn't find in the published work.
Another question?
Yes, another question has popped up. A wild question has a beard. I can't wait for this book to be released. Happy jazz hands.
Not a question, but an awesome statement.
I mean, I'm sure she can share the sentiment.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me put my tea down. I'll do the happy jazz hands. Good time out.
For me, my excitement is expressed in knots in my stomach.
But I'm really excited. I think this is one of those books that multiple people would enjoy. It's not just for the romance readers. It's not just for the historical buffs.
No.
Like there's action, adventure, comedy, like almost Princess Bride-esque.
Oh. It's the best compliment I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and it really is. There's a lot of that feel to it. It's very fun with a hint of romance. Not too. I mean, there's romance, but it's not too focused.
You have other stuff going on.
Yeah, you've got other stuff going on.
And I can put it this way: my husband, who does not
like to read,
he does not. He watches rom-coms. He'll watch romances with me, but you know how he is. He's a guy. But he was able to read and enjoy this book.
I had my husband that read it. He was able to enjoy it. He writes, but he doesn't read, especially not romance. We had a few people that were pleasantly surprised with how the book was. And again, I give you that compliment of Princess Bride-esque just because you've got the action, the adventure, the romance, the comedy. It really does have those elements that made The Princess Bride so very popular, and the characters that are so memorable. I mean,
that makes me happy.
So if you like The Princess Bride, which welcome to the world.
Yeah.
Then this book, The Devil's Maverick, which again is releasing
in January 28th officially.
Okay, and what ways, how's that being released?
So for the first month, it's going to be available as ebook or paperback exclusively on the Totally Bound website. After that, you'll be able to find it on Amazon, Kobo,
other platforms,
Barnes & Noble, much anywhere as ebook or paperback.
That's exciting. Okay, well, I'm gonna go. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for helping me.
Bye, everybody.
All right, so that's all I have for you right now. Like I said, I will be doing another Q&A in the future, so I'll be hoarding questions in the meantime. But I want to thank everyone sincerely for joining me in this. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you all did too. I hope you all learned something and are as excited for the Devil's Maverick to come out as I am. So this is Lori Page signing off.